a funny thing about me starting the show with TLoU Verata Nikto. It comes from the day the Earth stood still, and it literally translates as to the actual quote is Gort TLoU Verata Nikto. So she's telling the robot Gort that TLoU says to stop or abort. That would be the literal translation, but it's come to loosely mean don't destroy the Earth. And I think that's kind of a good message, so that's why I start with it. So let's go ahead and start the show. TLoU Verata Nikto, Game Cats. What's up? This is Geekfull Things, a live call-in talk show about geekful things. Things that we love, things that we enjoy, things that we love to bitch about. Got a lot of different topics today. Looks like we got Scott Jestico in the chat already. How you doing? Welcome aboard. If you want to join the chat live, the voice chat, and be on the air, you can go to the Geekfull Things Discord, jump on the subspace relay, and that acts as like a green room. I'll eventually move you up to the jump on the hailing frequencies. Then I'll move you into the subspace relay. First up, we're going to start the game. The one that I've been trying to get going for I don't know how long. Geekful Things with Other Things. Now, I tried this with Brian. It didn't work so well. I tried it with Darkwing Duck, and he didn't want to do it. But this is one that you just will play along with. You can chat, drop them in the chat, and we'll see how things go. Now we need another button. I have so many buttons. So that would be, no, not mashup. Oh, where are you? Apparently I didn't put a keyboard shortcut in here. So let's just dump the wheel in there. I don't have the wheel. What the hell? It should be showing, but it's not. Okay, so let's go to here. Is it showing? I got to go back to that window. There we go. So, bear with me. This is ugly. Copy this. For wheel 1. Drop it in here. All right. So first up, it's not doing it. Why is it not doing it? Of course it's not going to work because I'm on air. It worked every time before. Okay, so we start off with one geekable thing and match it with something else. We've got horror, video games, sci-fi, comic books, literature, tabletop games, fantasy, anime, toys, and movies and TV. So let's just randomly pick one. We got comic books. And we will match that with... Looks like I got some homework to do. Get this son of a bitch to work. Drop that in there. And it's supposed to. It's not doing it. What in the hell? Yeah, it's supposed to pop up with the wheel. So we have as musical, porn title, drink or weed strain, failed marketing, as food, as another Geekfull thing, Abram Shyamalan twist, creepified quote, poetry, or prescription medicine. So we have failed marketing. Comic book failed marketing. That's what we got today. Let's go back to that. Oh, nope. We don't want to do that. I got too many things going on. So it looks like nobody's in the voice chat yet, so I can't bring them up. So we got comic books, failed marketing. Mr. Fantastic condoms. Green Lantern Mountain Dew, because it's yellow. And this goes to the entire show. So if you can think of something, go ahead and drop it in. Let me double check and make sure that the live chat is working. It is not. Oh, yep, there it goes. Just took a second. All right. So, oh, that wasn't the one I wanted to go with. I wanted to start with Picard. Oh, well. Last of Us. New episode today. We had episode 5 last week, and it was a pretty good one. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. So if you want to talk about it, go ahead and hit the Discord, hit the hailing frequencies, and we'll bring you aboard up to the subspace relay. I've heard a lot of talk on podcasts, on the internet, on all kinds of chat with Discord and whatnot, that a lot of gripes people have with Last of Us is it's not like the game. Well, I'm of the opinion it shouldn't be, because we know the game. There's no point in just simply having a TV show that's exactly like the game. And doing some of the decisions that they made with the show makes it more cinematic rather than immersive. I think we covered that on previous episodes. And it also keeps us guessing, where it takes place in the world that we know, that we love, but things are a little bit different, so we don't know exactly what to expect. So it gives it a little more suspense. That's my take on it. And I was under the impression that I had completed that game. Apparently I hadn't. I'd watched my son play it, so I know the game, but not intimately. There's a lot of chunks that I missed. So there's, of course, been some surprises for me. And my wife has never touched the game, never even heard of the game before, but she loves the show. So it just goes to show you what, your expectations and what the show really is. It's a good show. It's, dare I say it, better than Walking Dead? But we'll see how it pans out. I mean, it's still early in the season, and a lot of different ways they can go with it. So yeah, that's about it for Last of Us, unless you got anything. Let's check and see. Nobody's inhaling frequencies yet. We can always come back. If you got something to say on it, we'll come back to it. Farewell, PSVR1. This is kind of the meat of the show. I've been live streaming some of the games. I haven't had a chance to stream as much as I would like to. I had a big list. I think I've done like 4 so far, and it's literally seconds away. We're just around the corner of the release. It's Wednesday, and it's Christmas and Hanukkah and your birthday and everything all rolled into one. Very excited for PlayStation VR2. But had there not been a PlayStation VR1, of course there wouldn't be a PlayStation VR2. And there's a lot of titles on PlayStation VR1 that they're not going to get an upgrade. The studios are either gone, or the studios have decided it's just not worth it to make an upgrade, or they're waiting to see how sales go with PlayStation VR2 to see if there's enough units out in the wild. Sony has said that they plan on doing 2 million units in the first year, selling 2 million units. They haven't really said how many they plan on producing. And apparently it's still fairly easy to get one. I know some people who managed to hit Sony Direct days before shipping, and they still managed to snag one. And I just saw on Discord earlier, someone had posted pictures of them in retail already. It wasn't in America. It looked like it was Spain or Mexico or something. It looked like it was some Spanish on some of the signs in the background of the store. But I mean, they're in the wild. But the PlayStation VR1 was an odd beast. It was really a grand experiment, and it was I guess you could say it was Sony's Virtual Boy from Nintendo. It was, let's put this out there, see what it does. There was the Vive before it. Meta, or Quest actually, Oculus Quest, came out after it. But that Sony was keeping their eye on new technologies, new materials, getting bids from companies as to, how much they got these new panels, how much would it cost if we bought, like 5 million of them, ones that we can pop into the headset. They cobbled together the Move system for tracking, which, I mean, it worked mostly. We've struggled through tracking issues, most of us, for quite some time with it, but loved every second of it. It was something that you couldn't get for that price on a main console without having to tweak all your specs. I mean, if you had a PC was more powerful before PlayStation VR1 came out, but you always had to tweak settings, and God, it was a pain in the butt. I've gotten a couple things on Steam and played them through the Quest headset, and yeah, it looked pretty good, but you get the smaller field of view with the Quest. You still got to keep it plugged in with the wire. Stupid. Having the wire is not a big deal. Excuse me. But it just worked. There was no fiddling around, except for with the moves. But some of the games that we're probably going to say goodbye to is Skyrim so far, because Bethesda, unless they had deals in place prior to PlayStation VR2, I don't think we're definitely not getting Starfield, but maybe Skyrim, maybe a version of Fallout. Other than that, I don't think we're going to see much. Media Molecule hasn't really said anything about Dreams, whether it's coming over to PSVR2. But, I mean, we're still getting some great ones like Song in the Smoke, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Moss. You know there's got to be an Astrobot or two in there. But nothing, I mean, the original Astrobot Rescue Mission, probably not coming over, but I'm sure there'll be a sequel. But a lot of us, PlayStation VR1 was our first foray into VR. And it just snowballed from there. It's like, well, what else can we get? I mean, we picked up Quests. A lot of us did. It's okay for what it is. A cheaper standalone headset with downgraded visuals, but oddly enough, better tracking, which is now in the PlayStation VR2. It's So if you've got any thoughts on, what was the first game you fired up on the PlayStation VR1? What were your impressions of the PlayStation VR1? So if you want to talk along with that, go ahead, join the Discord. Just hit the hailing frequencies. Now, PSVR2 hype. Fuck. That's all I got to say about that. I've never been this excited for a system before. Knowing what, say, like Half-Life Alyx looked like on the Quest, through the PC, through Steam, setting it all up, tweaking it. And I just have a laptop with a 2060 Ti card in there. And you know that, I mean, it's not a real 2060. It's a laptop 2060. So even then, I mean, the visuals were pretty damn sharp and it was really cool. But we know that the PlayStation VR2 is going to be better. It's going to have more pixels. It's going to be higher resolution, better textures, better lighting, better display. Salvador, let's go. Yes. I mean, wow. It's just going to be mind-blowing. I've seen a lot of comments lately on the Without Parole Discord about Gran Turismo 7. Some people are upset that Digital Polyphony had said, or Polyphony Digital, I always get that mixed up, had said it's the full game in VR. But the menus are going to be flat. And they're like, oh my god, the menus are going to be flat. So what? You're in a Formula One racer in VR in the rain in Italy. What's not to love? I mean, I could care less about the menus being flat. I mean, it'd be a nice bonus, and we still get the VR showroom. So that's something. You can walk around the cars, the interior, and what's going on with what's going to be your first game in PSVR2? Well, Gran Turismo. After that, probably Resident Evil. Gosh, I don't know. Maybe the upgrade of Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, or No Man's Sky, if that does actually drop at launch day. Knock on wood. What's yours going to be, Salvador? Actually, you can join the voice chat and chat along. But yeah, what's your first game going to be? Gosh. So many features with the PlayStation VR2 that are just going to make it more immersive. The headset rumble, the haptics in the controllers, the better tracking, the uniformity of controls, which makes it easier and better to port games to. The adaptive triggers. There's just so much that's. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be ethereal, dreamlike. Yeah, I could probably go on and on, but there's really no point to it. Let's just say that there's a lot of hype, and we're all hyped for it. Let's see. Maybe there's a little delay there. That's why I'm not seeing anything yet. Nope. So we can always, we can always come back to hype levels. Ah, here we go. This is the one I wanted to start with. Picard Season 3. I don't know. It didn't piss me off. So that's a good thing. The first two seasons, oh, I had so many issues with it. The first one, it's like, well, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And then they just wrote themselves off into a cliff. And Picard is now basically an android. And the season 2, they tried to do a Star Trek 4 Voyage Home thing on the B story with A story. This is why I don't normally do this when the wife is home. That's fine. Season 2, the A story with Q was actually pretty good. And John Delancey just chewed up scenery in it. He was so good. So good. But overall, it was just kind of eh. Oh, and the plot line with the Romulans and the Borg cube, that was actually pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of little things that, a lot of world building things that were pretty good Star Trek wise, but overall was kind of dull and kind of not there. Now, there's only been one episode so far, Picard Season 3. And like I said, it didn't piss me off. It wasn't mind-blowing. It didn't try to really break new ground. Riker kind of steals the show. I was never really a big Riker fan on Next Generation. Thought he was a little smug. What the hell are you doing? Just go ahead and go through.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yes, Donna.
But it was, overall, it was just kind of eh. But I have heard, it's a funny thing at side story, a funny thing at work, we were not allowed to have headphones or earbuds or anything in while we're driving. But one of the drivers found the bone conduction headphones, and he got like the $130 ones, the Shocks, and I couldn't afford those, so I just got a cheapy pair from Amazon. But anywho, we can use bone conduction headphones because we can still hear passengers and we can still hear the radio and sirens and traffic. So I've been getting into podcasts, and I'm listening to a lot of Geekfull podcasts, and a lot of them were talking about what was the point I was getting at here? They were talking about Picard, and they had seen the full season. They were privy to Paramount allowing them to review it, because these were big ones like Comic Book Nation and Nerd Soup, I think, is one of the other ones I listened to. So they got to see the whole season, and they said, just wait. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen that is really good, and it ties it all together, and it's a great final send-off to the Next Generation crew. So apparently there's going to be more little things with Next Generation crew. So far they've got Riker, Beverly, Picard, and LaForge's granddaughter, or is it his daughter? I'm not sure. My first PSVR game was Resident Evil 7, so I have to go with RE8 for PSVR2. Definitely would, but stuck at work. Oh, sorry, Salvador. Yeah, that's a good one to jump into. I'm a little hesitant to jump into Gran Turismo first because I know I'm going to be blown away by it. I'm going to be playing that the whole rest of the day. But maybe I should start with like Job Sim or something to kind of work into like, oh, this is much better. And then jump into something else and like, oh, this is so much better. Then finally jump into Gran Turismo like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. This is what we should have had the first time. But, yeah, Picard Season 3. I'll keep watching it, just like, I mean, it's not like Discovery. If you're a Trek fan, stay away from Discovery. They bastardize so many things and retcon things, and it's just Kurtzman doesn't know Star Trek. And that's one of the good things about Picard season 3 is I forget the guy's name that's the head writer on it now. Kurtzman's still taking credit, but it's Goldman, I think. Akiva Goldman. Anyway, he knows Star Trek. He's a fan of Star Trek. I think he's also involved in Strange New Worlds, which is spectacular, by the way. If you don't watch, if you've watched Trek, you've liked Trek, and you're staying away from the new stuff, I would recommend Strange New Worlds. It is so good. And Lower Decks, oddly enough. It's very Star Trek-y, a lot of callbacks, and it's got kind of a Rick and Morty sense of humor to it, or even Inside Job. It's very subversive Star Trek while still staying true to the Star Trek code of ethics, the morals of Starfleet, and you know, stuff like that. Maybe season 3 of Picard, but just stay the hell away from Discovery and the first 2 seasons of Picard. Unless you're really into it. I mean, really into it like me. And you'll suffer through some things. Some things are brilliant. Some things are just awful. So enough about Picard. Geekfull News. Oh, I don't know. I really got nothing. I mean, other than I haven't really been paying attention to anything other than PlayStation VR2. What's on the air right now? Well, Picard, Last of Us. There's been so many things with so many things up in the air and so many rumors with the new DCU, with Marvel. Marvel's thinking about rescheduling. They just put out their new slate. Gosh, what was it at E3? And there's already a lot of changes because of Feige. It seems like he's kind of stepping aside a little bit because he wants to do some other projects. I'm sure after, God, what has it been, 15 years with the Marvel Universe? He's probably a little bit bored with it. He's stated that he does want to get involved in Star Wars movies. He wants to branch out into other properties. And it seems like Disney is getting pretty heavy-handed, which you can see with Phase 4. Marvel is now super woke. And that's not a good thing. Being aware and being politically involved, that's a good thing. Being woke, that's just taking stuff to extremes, in my opinion. There's an edict at Marvel now where you can't have a white man save the day. It's got to be a transgender, biracial, you know, which in the context of the storyline would be fine, but if you're making a point of it, you're not serving the point you're trying to make. You dig? I mean, I don't know. We could talk about that kind of politics for quite some time, but on the DC side, I like what Gunn is doing with the new slate of DC movies and series. And he's made some very interesting choices for which movies he's got out of the gate. There's, Superman Legacy. You got to go with the Superman, but they're not going with Henry Cavill. That's the big stinkeroo for a lot of people because they love Cavill as Superman, but they don't really care for the Snyderverse movies. So this would be the best of both worlds, ideally, where Cavill is the Superman that we want, telling stories that we would like. Not being this dark, brooding character. He's more brooding than Batman in the Snyderverse, which makes no sense whatsoever for the big blue Boy Scout. But, and Cavill's got a lot of properties going on. He's doing the Warhammer 40K thing. There has been some rumors that maybe he's not out of Witcher, but we'll see. Maybe The problem he had with Witcher, I keep getting derailed on several other smaller subtopics, but that's adult AD, I guess. But he, the problem he had with The Witcher is he loves the source material. He's played the games, he's read the books, he knows Witcher, and apparently the writing staff doesn't. Were the things that I was saying about The Last of Us, where the universe is there, but it's taking things in a slightly different direction with certain things, a different take on certain things, a little more storyline, background lore on certain things. What the writing staff did on The Witcher was just like, nope. They just threw everything out, and that just pissed off Cavill. He's like, well, you can still use this, and it doesn't have to be exactly like this. And they're like, no, we're just not going to use it at all. We'll make up our own shit. Scott Jessico says, well, hello there. How's it going, Henry? It's rough like normal. Making shit up as I go along. Yeah. This show is kind of like Apollo 13. I've had like 8 glitches before I even started the show, and I've had at least 2 or 3 big ones with like the wheel not working and shit. But yeah, it's kind of like the games cast. Duct tape and baling wire, baby. A little more about the DCU. Oh, oops. There's also stories that since he's not going with Cavill as Superman, he's going for a younger Superman as a Clark Kent as a cub reporter, just starting with the not Daily Bugle, the Daily Planet. But that could be a flashback, and they could still have Cavill in there. And there's also rumors that it might not actually be Clark Kent. It could be John Kent. It could be Kal-El's son that it's focusing more on, and Kal-El is kind of in the background, semi-retired, just hanging on the farm with Lois. So yeah, huge grain of salt with that, but we'll see what happens. And actually, I wasn't a huge fan of the Snyderverse. I was glad that he was allowed to finish the story that he'd started with the Snyder cut of Justice League, because, well, it was awful, the one that was theatrical. And Man of Steel was probably the only good movie out of the Snyderverse. I really didn't care for Batman versus Superman. So many reasons. A big one was Lex Luthor. We'll leave it at that. And that kind of made me feel like some of the new Star Trek. It ended up pissing me off more than enjoying it. Yeah. Anyway, some of the other movies coming out with Gunn is Brave and the Bold, which should be good because we'll have the entire Bat family. Likely they're not going with Ben Affleck as Batman. And Keanu Reeves has expressed interest in being Batman, so that would be interesting. He'd have to shave, obviously, but I think he would be good. Scott Jessico says, "What do you mean Tom Hanks is going to be here? What? Did I say Tom Hanks was going to be here? That would have been awesome." I've got the Snyder cut. Not got around to watching it yet. Oh. It's better. It's much better. I wish they would have made it 3D like the movie, but and it's a lot more fleshed out. I thought the character that got the most disservice with the Joss Whedon cut was Cyborg. He got a lot more fleshed out in the Snyder cut. It's well worth a watch. It's 4 hours, but take it in doses. You don't have to muscle through it. Yeah, Braving the Bold is going to have Batman, Damian, Tim Drake, Dick Grayson, the entire Robin cadre. I'm just excited to see Damian on screen. He's once he debuted in the comics, I'm like, this is an interesting character. Most of the Batmans or most of the Robins have had some issues, but Damian's got issues. Wow, it makes her a very interesting character. There's gonna be another Swamp Thing. Supposed to be a more trippy Swamp Thing. Well, it's James Gunn. Of course, it's gonna be a little trippier. Waller's gonna have her own show. Something Creatures and Monsters, which is like a monster version of Suicide Squad. Lantern Corps, which could be interesting. It's going to be both Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart. And the description is very strange. They say that it's remember the HBO series True Crime or True Detective? I can't remember what it was. It was the one with Woody Harrelson and be a lot cooler if you did. Lincoln Lawyer. Damn it, I can't remember his name right now. He was also in Interstellar. You said Apollo 13. Oh, yes, I did say Apollo 13. I got you. I'm aware of the goddamn gimbals. Are we on Vox? Yeah, so hopefully we got the glitches out. I was having problems with the microphone cutting out too, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I could ramble on more about the DCU, but yeah, if you got any thoughts on the DCU, you can join the Discord, hit hailing frequencies, all that shit. You know how it goes. I don't think I really have much left, except a whole lot of ums coming out of my face. What else? You see, we talked about that. So far, yeah, pretty much that's a wrap. True Detectives, that's what it was. Thank you, Scott Jessico. All right. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do one next week. I might do a little earlier because the wife gets off at a strange time on Sundays. So might do it a little earlier next Sunday, and then the PlayStation VR2 will be out. We can talk about that stuff. And yeah, we're both hungry, so we got to grab a bite to eat. And yeah, I think that'll be a wrap for today. Oh, the game. I forgot about Geekfull Things with another thing. What do we have? Comic books and failed marketing. Did anyone else have anything in the chat? I, of course, was thinking about other things. Comic books and failed marketing. Sandman Hourglass. Venom skin lotion. Fantastic Four's The Thing, Dustbuster, because he's made of rocks. Can't wait for the 22nd. Bring on PSVR2. Abso-friggin-lutely. It's going to be glorious. If you think of any Geekfull Things with another thing, with the subject comic books with failed marketing, go ahead and drop them in the comments after the video posts. And yeah, I think we're going to call it. Pretty short show, 40 minutes, just me rambling on. So until next time, live long and prosper. Thanks for watching. Where's my exit? There it is.